where should I live is probably the number one question we get from hundreds of buyers. And it's really strange how what you start with isn't necessarily what you finish with. Well, in this video, we're going to give you some examples to hopefully help you along with your journey, coming at you right after this. Look, if you're moving your family here, there is nothing more stressful about being sure that you've made the right decision for the family, right? You want to make sure that whatever you choose for your family, for your children, is not only the right decision for right now, but also for the future. And I'll tell you, I think more often than not, although parents say that they're making the decisions for their family, it's usually what they want, and they forget about really the questions to ask about the kids. Now, first and foremost, schools, right? That is going to be the number one thing when you think of children, no matter what age your children are. If you are just starting to have children and you plan on staying in the home, or if you're going to stay in the home for 5 years or 10 years, but you're just starting your family, I'm telling you, schools are important. And my favorite resource is greatschools.org, except here's the caveat. Greatschools.org, you got to drill down and look at how they rate their schools. So 1 through 5 on an index is going to be 4 to average, and 6 and above is considered above average to great. So make sure you drill down, and even the ones that might have the lower scores around the 6 or 7, if you see where that scoring came from, maybe you're okay with some of those reasons that maybe that school doesn't offer certain programs that you might see in another school. Here's the thing. If you are going to the school that you buy your home in the boundaries, you will have no problem getting your child into that school. If you are thinking about school choice, which is one of the great things about the state of Arizona, and you intend to maybe, let's say you want to be in the Chandler Unified School District, but it's not necessarily that elementary school that you want. If you're thinking of hopping over to another school in the Chandler Unified School District, remember, priority goes to the students that live within the boundaries. So if at any time that school gets full and you go to re-register your child, you may not be able to continue at that school. So it's really important, even though you have school choice, to try and get at least in the school district, if not within that school's boundaries, okay? Number 2, you're going to want to make sure you get your children registered well in advance. We're getting phone calls right now in the June timeframe for school starting in July. Many of the schools are already full. So you're going to want to plan, at the very least, if you haven't started to do it now yet, for next school year, is give us a call as soon as possible and get your plan set in place well ahead of time. Here's the other thing. Outside of school, what do you want for your child? We're talking about extracurricular after-school programs. Now, not only does the school district offer many things, but so does the cities. The cities have all kinds of community centers and public libraries and programs after school. There's also boys and girls clubs. There's also obviously private daycare, aftercare kind of things, but there's also a lot of sports. Big time here in the greater Phoenix area, because don't forget, the kids actually play outside year round. This is not just during the winter time. I'm telling you, my son in football, they start in August. And I remember as he pulled off his helmet, just the sweat. I thought to myself he was going to dwindle away. He was just a little string bean at that age. But the kids are resilient and they will practice through this. They'll get used to it. When you first move to Arizona, and especially if your young boy is in football, they're going to get nosebleeds. It's just because of the dry heat. That's just how it is. But if these sports programs are important to you, I would highly recommend you look into that before you pick the school or the area that you live in. There are so many programs, more programs now for girls than there were when my daughter was growing up. When she was growing up, she only had the school programs. Now they have soccer, they have softball, they have volleyball, and I am talking tournament teams. And these are teams that practice all over. Well, they have usually one practice location. Again, you're going to want to live close to that. I know know families that drive literally 30, 45 minutes 2-3 times a week to get to the field. I'm telling you, if this is important for you and your child's development and their life learning lessons, we got to have these conversations before you pick the area that you want to buy a home in. You may be drawn to the price. You may be drawn to the beautiful aesthetics. Maybe you love the more newer homes because it's less maintenance. But what's it going to be like for the kids out there? Maybe you're picking a community that doesn't have a lot of programs on site. There are some communities, one right off the top of my head, actually two, now that I'm thinking, actually three, I'm telling you, there's a whole bunch of them. But Eastmark specifically, they have a city community center right smack dab in the middle of Eastmark. So not only do you have all the community amenities like the pool, the splash pad, this big, beautiful, it's called the Great Park. They have jungle gym, they have farming, they have a coffee shop, they have a skate park, they have baseball fields. I'm telling you, it's endless over there. That's not the only one that's like that. And it's included in your HOA, and the HOA there is only $125 a month. Let me tell you. And then some of the other ones that have actual social clubs. Some of these communities, you never have to leave the community. They have restaurants, they have golf, they have sports courts, they have pickleball, they have basketball. I'm telling you, if your children, like I said, if you don't even have children, but this is something you want your children to grow up in, let's talk about it. Because here's the great thing. Public schools aren't the greatest in the greater Phoenix area. Not gonna lie, but there is a ton of charter schools, Montessori schools, private schools, satellite schools, online schools. There's so many choices in the state of Arizona that you can pick just about anywhere in the greater Phoenix area and still get your child a fantastic education. So just because you want nice new, maybe we want to get them into a community that's a little bit more built up though, and maybe it's a little older and offer more programs for the kids. Again, you got to reach out to us as early as possible. Let's start having some conversations about what would be the right place for your children. Wouldn't you want that for your family? I know I did, and I'm so glad of the decisions I made at the time. And I'm telling you, there are wonderful, wonderful communities that you've probably never even seen on YouTube yet, just because there are so many. And some of them are smaller, like 200 or 300 homes. So they don't warrant the big, ginormous coverage that like Power Ranch has, which has 35,000 residents. So here's what you got to do. You got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, days, nights, or weekends. We got your back when moving to Phoenix, Arizona, and we will prompt you with the right questions and pull that information out of you so that you can figure out what that journey looks like, and we'll get you into the perfect neighborhood. But we can't do it unless we hear from you. So give us a call today. We cannot wait to hear from you. All right, guys, until next time, see y'all. Bye.